A lot of times I'll see speakers, and we as people, we want to really connect. We're as humans, that's part of our makeup is to connect. So even when people have barriers to their connection, we as humans will find a way to get underneath that and try to connect to who they are, but it is acting as a barrier. And one of the barriers to connection I see so often in speakers or people when they go to speak is it's almost like they put on this speaker coat, I call it, like, oh, now let me get into my presentation mode. It's almost like they have this preconceived notion that because I'm going to speak, I have to put on this coat of authority. Or I have to put on this coat like, okay, you will listen to me because what I have to say makes sense. And it's this projected barrier that causes an element of stiffness. It doesn't allow what they're having to say to flow. It doesn't give them the freedom or the permission to really be who they are if they were just having a real conversation. And when you can remove that and just really be able to talk as if you were, because really the best speaking is like a one-on-one conversation, except maybe you're having it to 100 people at one time, or 1,000 people at one time. Through one set of eyes at a time, you're containing the entire room through one set of eyes at a time. It's really one-on-one conversation, perhaps amplified to whatever number is in the audience. And that's what's going to make it powerful when you really speak from that place. When you take away the shoulds, you take away the templates, and you certainly take away speaking from your mind. When you try to think about what you're talking about, you're getting locked in your mind, and that's keeping you from speaking from your heart. That's also a barrier to your connection. When you remove all that, you trust in who you are, you just trust in the moment, you know that it's going to just flow from you, even though you may go, oh, I don't know, I'm not experienced enough to know it. When you're able to tap into what that feels like, that trust and that allowing, that's so powerful. You could be thrown to the wolves. You could suddenly be tossed into a situation to speak on something you don't know about, but you will make it work because you know how to let the connection lead, and you lead from who you are and from your heart to the heart of the audience, and it's powerful and it works. I'm saying so much at once in answer to your question. You can tell I'm passionate about this topic, but there's so much within just that phrase, authentic speaking.
What really blows me away is when I saw you on two different occasions rise to the occasion. One was we were both sitting in a seminar, and the leader of that seminar said, Lynn, give us 10 seconds of your best. And you just belted out, sitting right there in your seat, belted it out, and blew everybody away. There was no fear, there was no fumbling, there was no failure. It was just, bam, it was right out there. And everybody was amazed. And then, again, at dinner, there were about 32 of us or so sitting around a big table. I had the microphone. It was kind of going around the room. And I said, now I think what we'd like to do is hear from Lynn Rose. Lynn, would you mind singing a few bars for us? And you got up and just rocked the room. And it was so amazing to watch. No preparation, no music, strictly a cappella. And you were just belting it out. And I mean, if the whole restaurant didn't hear that, or the whole town didn't hear it, they were asleep because you really let it rock. And you were on key, on tune, and there was no fear, there was no nervousness, there was nothing. It was right out there, and everybody was with you. You captivated that whole room in just those few moments. And I looked at that and I thought, man, this gal's got it on. I'm not sure how she does it. But that's something I need to learn how to do. Not that I want to get up and sing in front of a group like that, because I wouldn't do nearly what you can do. But to watch you and watch the confidence, it blew everybody away. And we talked about it for the rest of the time we were at that whole program for 7 days. These are things that I think everybody should want to learn how to do. And not only just because, not should want to know, but really need to know how to do. If they're working for someone else, get a promotion, be eligible for promotion. Because many times, if it comes down to two people and they're both equally qualified, the one that can communicate the best, the one that can communicate the most authentically, the one that can get their message out there in such a way that people not only want to listen to it, but will take action because of what they said. And many times it isn't necessarily the message, it's the delivery of the message. That person will have a huge advantage. If you're in a selling situation, two salespeople are equally qualified, and one can communicate their message better in a one-on-one situation or in a group presentation. They're going to have a tremendous advantage over the other person. And so these are the kinds of things that you teach. And I'm so excited to be able to present this to the people that we do business with and to be able to attend myself.
Right. So the quality of your communication is equal to the quality of your life. And one could even say the quality of your impact. God, there's so much I'm wanting to just jump on what you just said, Martin. I mean, first of all, thank you for what you said about what you experienced when I jumped up there or was, quote-unquote, thrown to the wolves unexpectedly. But, you know, you said there was no nervousness or there was no doubt or any of that. And to be honest, there was. I mean, that night that I sang in front of the restaurant, I was kind of going through some, no one would have known because I knew how to manage it, but I was going through some emotional stuff that was going on around a romantic situation I was in. And but I know how to manage it. So even though I had this heaviness and I felt like more like hiding as opposed to bam, being thrown out there in front of everybody, I know how to just be able to not make something go away or resist it, but to be able to put it to the side and through the power of my focus and intent, allow to come forth what needs to come forth and make that impact, no matter how I'm feeling, no matter what's going on. And when you said no fear, like in that time that Joel just, at that training we were at, but out of nowhere, got called out to, do my thing, I did all of a sudden have fear, but I know, I can be a very frightened person a lot of times, actually, but I have learned how to manage my fear so that I translate it into excitement, so that I translate it into fuel that actually helps all the more make impact with whatever it is that I do. I mean, and I think that's important that we all are able to harness the power of that so that we can never be thrown, so that we are always, in control in whatever moment or whatever happens. Because, let's say you are at an important interview, if you want to put it in a business context. Who knows what question might come at you, or who knows who might be at that interview, and you find that nerves come up, but you don't want to feel like then the nerves take you over and you can't be yourself. You want to feel that you are going to make that impact no matter how you're feeling. Let's say you've had 0 sleep. You want to know that you're still going to nail it and you're going to know how to navigate through it, that you still show up powerfully. I think that's so important. And if you're a speaker, you know that so often speeches are changed in a moment, or things are switched up on you, or in the moment while you are doing your presentation, sometimes things go wrong. Well, how do you handle it with each moment? If you are in control in each moment and are really allowing, as things come up, that you have that power no matter what. If I can tell a funny story, this was like in the beginning of my speaking career, but I had been seen at some event and then got added last minute to this 3-day event that was for 8,000 chiropractors. And for their opening night, they had taken Bob Eubanks off the bill and put me on in his stead. And I was to sing an MC for it, but also to do a keynote that same night. Now, in that audience, because that's their opening night, in that audience was Victor Hansen, John DeMartini. I think Jack Canfield was there as well. A number of people, John Gray. Just a number of people from the industry. So I already had people I look up to in the audience, not to mention 8,000 people, not to mention the pressure that I've got to come through and deliver. And, because I want to make sure that my client here is happy. I had flown in the night before from some other event from across the country, so I'd had 0 sleep that day when I arrived. And then when I arrived, they completely switched up my speech on me. I prepared the special speech for them, and then they completely switched it up on me. And I had no teleprompter, even though this was a huge stage. And so backstage, before I went on, I was doubled over in pain. I was just praying that, the fire alarm would go off and the audience would clear out. I wouldn't have to go on. I was so terrified. But then I said, no, you know what? Failure is not an option. I have to deliver. I have to, make this powerful, make this work, and get the message that they're wanting to get across to these 8,000 chiropractors. That's what it's about. It's not about me and about my fear or that I've got to, quote-unquote, do good. It's about making this work at its absolute best for these people. And so